Amir Albazi, flyweight contender, is out. Hyun Sung Park is in. The Japanese prospect coming off of his first loss, Tatsuro Taira, is looking to bounce back, but he's going to have to do it in sporadic fashion. New opponent, short notice. You got to make the most of your opportunity. Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. Breaking it down with me, as always, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native, AJ. 4 fights this card. It's one of those cards where 4 different fights, both fighters coming off of a loss. So this is really a development card, if you will. We are off the backs of some of the travel, some of the pay-per-views, and we're back at the Apex. Brother, how you feeling, man?
I mean, it feels like we're back home, Derek. These are exactly the kind of cards that the Apex is built for. And, you know, take that with whatever you will, folks. But I mean that in respect, because this is where stars are built on these cards. And it's also where money is made.
That's it. A lot of money to be made, and that's why this is a little bit of an uncertain card, especially when you have these contenders who sometimes, I shouldn't say contenders, I should say prospects, but sometimes they rise to the occasion, other times they don't. We got veteran names, we got young names, we got the whole entire 9. Hyped wrestler Rinya Nakamura is looking to bounce back from his first career loss. He's fighting Nathan Fletcher. Kevin Vallejos, man. That dude is going to be exciting. I always compare him to Ilia Topuria. I know it's not a great comparison per se, but he pops off of the screen. He's a fun one that everybody's going to want to tune into. And then, of course, Adolfo Vieira and Tresean Gore. Need I say more? I don't think so, brother. Let's go ahead and let's do a quick recap for UFC Abu Dhabi before we jump into everything. AJ, you won the week. You squeaked it out, and you did it in the main event. But the main event, they squeaked it out. Reiner de Ritter, he got the split decision win over the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. First off, man, how do you feel, bro? As an OG, Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles, I mean, fan favorite. Everybody's heart hurts, if you will, from the loss. But this could just be the sport moving on, man. Like I said, it's never fairy tale endings. What did you think?
Yeah, Derek, I mean, as much as I do think de Ritter won the fight, was he deserved of a winning with how sloppy it was and like how it unfolded? I didn't really think so. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he did win, but it wasn't one of those ones where you really put that notch on your belt. And I mean, I'm with you. I think this might be the sport leaving Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles behind. I don't see him making big changes to get back on top anytime soon.
Yeah, bro. Let's go ahead and let's move to the let me move to the actual board so the people can see what's going on here. There it is. All right. As you can see here, green indicates a win. Red indicates a loss right here. So I did lose on the Whittaker pick. And I do believe for Robert Whittaker, man, it's just the athleticism. I think that's kind of gone by. You know, I rewatched the fights against Yoel Romero, and that takedown defense, man, was spectacular, right? Like against de Ritter, he pulled the good old DDP, man. Just be goofy, be sloppy, and take him down, and it works. But all right, man, Piotr Jan, he gets a win against Marcus McGee. A win that didn't really do much, but it did show. It was like, all right, bro, you know, you're in business. You're doing the thing. Good old Piotr Jan. What else we got right here? Charles Magomedov, man, as a minus 700 favorite. Didn't look it, man. That was a good fight, but he did get his nose shattered against the power bar, Marc-Andre Barriault. How much longer can he keep getting away with this, man? A lot of people are saying, Magomedov, yeah, you lost to MVP, you bounced back right here, but is he going to keep getting these minus 500, minus 700 type of looks with those kind of performances?
No, not anywhere close, Derek. I mean, we might see like a 250, a 270, especially depending on who he's going to be fighting. But I think the veil is being pulled off that Magomedov is a very talented fighter, but people are right there on his heels.
Yeah, no, agreed. I did say that the best thing for the flyweight division was going to be Jose Ochoa winning in devastating fashion and just catapulting onto the scene. Unfortunately, didn't get it done. Asu Almabayev was a little bit too much, too sticky of a grappler. What's the prospects for Jose Ochoa? Learning lesson, but this does make it now, 1-2 in the UFC?
1-2 in the UFC, Derek. I mean, this was a good learning lesson for him because as much as the bias Jose Ochoa watcher on that fight was thinking that it was a close fight, you run it back, he didn't do enough to actually get the dub, and you need to be able to solidify wins not only in the judges' eyes but in everybody's eyes. That's how you move forward right here. So I've taken this as a learning lesson for Ochoa. Hopefully he's able to really put some good moves in the next one.
Yeah, bro, if you control where the fight takes place, you control the fight. So shout out to Reiner de Ritter because he did the same exact situation, man. It might not be pretty, but it did produce a victory. And I got to victory. You got a victory lap this, if you will, man. Bogdan Guskov, he can't keep getting away with this, bro. You know, that's what I keep saying, at least. I'm like, dog, he's just starching these dudes left and right. Nikita Krylov again. opens up with a billion naked leg kicks, decides not to grapple, though that was his clear path to victory, and paid the price, got knocked out for it. Anthony Smith, the evil Anthony Smith, continues to reign supreme right here. And I guess you can consider the Reiner de Ritter pick to be the one, but that evened us up, brother. It's 0-0 on the scoreboard, as you can see right here, 64% solid, folks. Overall takeaway from UFC Abu Dhabi.
Ooh, overall takeaway, folks. I mean, the stories seem to be falling into place, but there's always those ones who look to make that upset. So really pay attention to how stories are surging, because it's not always the way the fights go. But they're, like Derick said, it's 0-0. So now we're going back, folks. It's this fourth quarter right here. Second half. I don't want to say second half because we're a little past that. It's the fourth quarter. We're thinking about belts now. So make sure you're paying attention so you can win some money on us as well.
All right, you heard that, folks. We got a good one in store, but of course, before we jump into any of that, we need to go ahead and let AJ run some sleepers. AJ, you got a good one this week, brother. Another one of these young dudes who suffered adversity, suffered a loss, and we're looking to see what the comeback is going to be looking like. Talk to him, brother. What do you got?
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
We're going Austin Bashi versus John Giannis, right? Bashi is one of the few top American prospects that seriously on a rise. Hits hard, serious pressure wrestling going forward, fundamental striking, but when he lets his hands go, his opponents feel it, right? And not to take nothing away from John Giannis, he is no slouch by any stretch of the imagination. Great boxing, high fight IQ, and this man is a finisher, folks. Might be making his UFC debut against Bashi, but he has not only fought current, but also former UFC talent. So this guy is experienced, folks. Here's what you need to know. It's a classic, right? Classic wrestler versus striker matchup right here. Whoever's going to get in their bag first is going to be the one to have the opponent or have the ability to dominate his opponent going forward. 13 combined finishes, folks. Bashi has the most of them, right? I think he's over like 7-5, 8-5, something like that. But Giannis is on a 3-fight KO streak, folks. The odds say this is a smash spot for Bashi going into this, but if Giannis can keep this fight standing, we're going to be in store for a war. Make sure you pay attention to these prospects.
Remember, folks, we like FanDuel tracking the odds over here. Minus 720 for Austin Bashi coming off of a loss. Plus 450 comeback for Giannis. It's going to be a good one. You guys should definitely tune into that.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Tatsuro Taira is dangerous. He's a fantastic grappler, but he doesn't have the allure of I fought for gold. He's still a prospect, a contender on the rise. Steve Erceg may have been rushed up too much, but even with a loss, he lost to a former title challenger if it goes that route. Now, short notice, you get a main event, and all the pressure is on you right here, brother. Talk to us a little bit about what exactly this matchup is going to be looking like. Short notice, power puncher in Park, grappling specialist in Tatsuro Taira. There's big differences here. Talk to us.
Yeah, Park's going to be looking to finish the fight early, Derick. Really take a shock value to the name that's put against him, especially on short notice. Like you said, he's still training, so, especially for the fight coming up. So he's not going to be completely out of there. We're going to see a pretty close to prime Park coming into this fight, but still going up against a talent that is Taira, you're going to need to put it to him fast before he really starts dominating the grappling on you, and then you just start getting controlled. And that's Taira's one of the best things about him. He's able to take advantage of the fight wherever he feels like he has the advantage. So whether it's a striking or whether it's a grappling, whether he has a little bit of timing on you, a little bit of speed, he's going to be able to use those differences. So Park needs to hit him fast, hit him hard before Taira's able to make those reads.
I mean, that's kind of his specialty too, right? Is he'll walk you down. He's a finisher. He will finish you if you give him the opportunity, whether it comes via choke, whether it comes via knockout. And that's kind of the thing here. Let's take a look at these numbers right here. Minus 335 favorite is Taira, which, I mean, you would kind of expect it to be a bigger number given the circumstance, but plus 275 comeback for Park. Now, I'm thinking, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think Park is a little live here, bro. And the reason that I say that is because look at his style, man. When he's putting you on the back foot, he's going to make it harder for you to shoot. He has opportunistic sprawls. He does grapple himself, but it's really more, it's opportunistic as opposed to intentional, if that makes sense. Because I think for Tatsuro Taira, it just takes one shot for him to get on your back, control the round for the remainder of it. Park, on the other hand, is like, all right, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to open up my striking with some of that grappling. So what type of fight? I know you just mentioned, come on, hurt him, walk him down, do all that good stuff. But what kind of fight does Tatsuro Taira have to do, given that this is 5 rounds right here? Because I think you need to wear this dude Park out early. You need to gas out those arms. You need to maybe work a little bit of a clinch, because if this is pure standing for the first 2 rounds and he's not able to get a takedown, which I think it might be a little hard, 100% takedowns here, takedown defense here for Park. That's where I start seeing these situations where that number on Park starts skyrocketing and we see a favorite live betting. What do you think?
Yeah, no, Derick, I'm with you. I do think Park has a really good chance to be able to, especially strategy, to be able to win this fight. With your Tatsuro Taira, the big thing is you can't be biting on those feints, right? Park likes to walk in, feint to get you to react, and then he starts to hit you with some damage. If Tatsuro Taira isn't or doesn't bite on those simple little feints, and then he's able to make the move after and kind of upset that timing that Park has, that's going to be his best chance to get this fight down to the ground. Now, if he doesn't, Derick, in that first round, I'm with you. Then the things start looking a little crazy. Hopefully, Taira has the game plan. If you can't get him down in the first, have him mix it up in the second, and then shoot back again right for the third, and then really just start taking to him to the ends of the round, because it's going to be hard to have Park just start running away if you're just missing shots and continuously biting on those feints.
And I don't want to make it like oversimplified, right? But the early play is Park. The later play is going to be Tatsuro Taira. The total on this one is 3.5 rounds. Almost even money, -110 for the over, -120 for the under. I like the over here personally right here, but I also think it's a situation where Tatsuro Taira is coming off of a loss. Doesn't he need to do something impressive? Not just win, but do something impressive. And something impressive really would come in the form of a finish, as opposed to, yeah, I decisioned this dude that had to fight me on a couple days' notice, on less than a week's notice, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Derick. Short notice. You're the name in this one. You need to not only win this fight, you need to do it in spectacular fashion. Majority of them on both fighters' finishes are submissions, so I don't really see that coming. I think Taira's going to have to really put some work and then get to maybe a ground and pound position or hunt something after you've worn Park down.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about strategy, though, right, it would be effective to say, all right, well, Park is unproven past 15 minutes. Really, he barely goes to 15. Like he's a finisher. So let's test that gas tank. Let's see what those arms are looking like in rounds 4 and 5. But again, it all comes down to opportunity, and that's why I also think Park needs to stay pretty boxing heavy right here. Because the one thing that you see time and time again is you throw kicks against Tatsuro Taira, he's going to catch it. He's going to get to your back. Very opportunistic back taker, if you will. Look at that takedown accuracy, 44% accuracy right there, averages almost 3 takedowns a fight. So the man knows how to get it there. Against Royval, even though he lost in that last one, split decision, close fight, he recorded 6 takedowns in the fight. Royval doesn't have the greatest takedown defense on the other hand, though. So it's, that's something to take into consideration. This is the other part right here. I want you to take a look at these names. Jesus Aguilar, Edgar Chairez, Carlos Hernandez, Alex Perez. Kind of impressive, kind of not. But the point that I want to make here is that he was in trouble, and from a grappling perspective, in each one of those fights. Now, he went on to win each one of those fights and almost finish all of them, but he's been pretty much taken down by all of them. Chairez almost finished him at the end of the fight. Gas tank can be an issue for Taira, even though he did prove himself in that Brandon Royval fight. So if he's going to get the job done right here, how confident are you in Tatsuro Taira at -335? The reason that I'm asking is because, are you going pick here or are you going bet here on the favorite, on the Japanese prospect?
I'm going pick, Derick. I mean, at 335, don't get me wrong, I do think the number's good for the situation that's presented for us. But if you're laying out all the cards, you have Taira that's going to be getting the finish. Do you think he's going to be getting it done early in the under? Like, there's a lot of uncertainty right there. So personally, I'm going pick, and I'm picking Tatsuro Taira to win this fight. The betting on this one, it has me a little uncertain, especially with both the over and the under, kind of even money right there. I think Park's a live dog. There's a lot of uncertainty going in me. What about you, Derick? Are you going pick or are you going bet?
I'm going pick on this one. I've been uncertain on this because I see a lot of value in Park. I just don't see value betting Tatsuro Taira at over -300 right here, even though he is the name, even though he was the undefeated dude, even though he got the bigger name so far. I've been really impressed with what Park has put on tape thus far, even though it's against lesser opposition. We'll see what he can do here, but I think he's going to make it competitive. So I'm going to go no bet on this one. If you are going to go bet, I would take totals, and I would take over 3.5 rounds on this one. But then again, if Park wins, I mean, he's probably going to get it done early. So we'll see what happens right there. But that is your main event, the Japanese prospect. We think it's going to be pretty chalky on this one. All right, man, let's move on over to the next one. Excuse me. we got, let me see, let's switch on over the page. Yeah, there we go. Mateusz Rebecki, right? I think that's how you say it, even though that's not remotely how it's spelled. But he gets the Scottishman, Chris Duncan, bro. This is going to be a good fight right here because Chris Duncan has the kryptonite for Rebecki, if there is one, and that's jumping the gilly. Don't be silly and do it. No, Chris Duncan, seriously, don't do it because I think Rebecki, I'm going to keep it a buck here. I think this is a pretty up and down analysis that we can make here. This dude is going to come out fast. He's going to feint you. He's going to give you looks, and he's going to take you down. And he's probably going to try to beat Chris Duncan up. And Chris Duncan doesn't have greatest takedown defense, 38%, as you can see on the page right here. So, AJ, talk to the people. A southpaw mauler, and Rebecki is looking to prove himself in the lightweight division once again. Chris Duncan, though, is coming off a back-to-back gilly. So what wins, the powerhouse or the guillotine machine?
I'm thinking the powerhouse on this one, Derick, especially with how Rebecki likes to fight. I mean, good, plants his feet, good head movement, stays patient, but like busy at range, right? He's never really over pushing things, but he always seems to be pushing the gas pedal at the same time. He's going to crash in, do some damage. I mean, as much as Chris Duncan is very, very dangerous in a lot of aspects of the fight, I think Rebecki has the pressure and the power that's going to be able to nullify the dangerousness that Chris Duncan presents.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% with you right there. 4-0 in the UFC, riding that, or no, I shouldn't say 4-0 because he did lose against Diego Fajeda right there. But you remember, there was like a cardio issue that we saw there that I think was overcome in the Maitebek Oralbai fight, right? You decisioned him out. It was a split decision. It was a hard-fought decision against a dude who can do exactly what you can do. And even though Chris Duncan is coming off of these impressive victories, bro, Jordan Vucinic and Balaji Oki, those are impressive names if you know. If you don't know, well, now you know. I'm telling you, those are some impressive names right there. So, like, don't get it twisted. Yeah, you lost to Manuel Torres, but he also beat the Red Fox, Ashmuz. So, I don't know, man. I think Rebecki has the better resume overall. I think if we're looking at overall just numbers, I think he does everything just a little bit better, but he is smaller. He is compact. And the question is going to be, how does this get done? Because if you look at the numbers right here, minus 210, not a terrible price to pay on Rebecki for his path to victory right here. What can Chris Duncan do to really mitigate? I don't want to talk about jump the guillotine. We know that's a long shot right there, but front chokes are opportunistic right here. What can he do here to keep Rebecki guessing and not just press him up against the cage and shoot the takedown? Because I have a feeling that's what he's going to do.
The easy path to victory right there, Derick. I'm with you. But one of the things I think Rebecki probably knows is happening, but has a hard time fixing mid-fight. He overextends a little bit with that left hand as the fight goes on. So as Chris Duncan is able to keep this fight going, extend this fight out past a round and a half, then we really start to see not necessarily a cardio issue, but more of a habit that comes out of Rebecki, where he just lets that overhand left extend just a little too far, leaves the chin open, and that's when Chris Duncan, who is very good in the pocket, this boy can bang in the pocket. If Chris Duncan can get in there and do some damage, then the whole tide is going to be turning, and that's when I think Chris Duncan can really start to put his own game plan into effect with one of those big shots.
Yeah, I think Chris Duncan needs to beat up the legs. He needs to kill the mobility of Rebecki, or he needs to earn some respect early, because if he doesn't do that, I'm just not really seeing a path here. No disrespect. I think Chris Duncan is a very gritty fighter. I remember on the Contender Series when he fought Charlie Campbell, and he was out of the fight until he came back and got the big dub. That was like a legendary performance to enter the UFC right there. All respect, because I did bet on Charlie Campbell in that fight and lost tragically. But I think Rebecki is going to be too much for this one. The total, 1.5, minus 184 for the over, plus 154 for the under is what's tracking currently right here. If you think Rebecki gets it done, the question is how? What are you taking there?
Yeah, Derick. I think... Yeah, I like the under 2.5, minus 152. I like that a lot, especially at
1.5.
Oh, you're finding 1.5.
Yeah, that's what I tracked right before we recorded here today. So, I mean, if you got a different number, respect the number. But 1.5 was the total.
That changes it a little bit for me, Derick. I kind of I'm still going to go with the under. I'm still going to go with the under 1.5 on this. I think Rebecki, with the pressure he has, he can get that fight going really, really fast. And I don't know if Chris Duncan has enough to really keep him off the gas.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to take the over on the 1.5 right here. I will show some respect to Chris Duncan. I think he'll be able to earn a little bit of respect in there. I don't think it'll be a one-way mauling per se, because if it is, then the number needs to be much higher, and this is a smash spot. But I would consider Rebecki to be a parlay piece right here. I think you could feel very comfortable adding him into a larger parlay right there. The biggest concern that you have to think about, in my opinion, is getting caught shooting on a level change, because that's where Duncan, I think, can be the most dangerous. But the consensus pick is in. Rebecki is going to be your pick right there, and your betting pick as well. So fair play to that one. All right, man. Next up, we have the violence weight division right here. Another one in the violence weight division. Elvis Brener versus Esteban Ribovics. It is a crime right here. Somebody needs to go to jail for scheduling this in the Apex. This needs to be in front of a packed out crowd. This has violence written all over it, man. There's no other way that you could put it right here. Elvis Brener, man, this dude I was very high on, but he's coming off of some pretty nasty back-to-back losses right here. If we take a look, Mike Tibek Oralby and Joel Alvarez, not bad guys to lose against. But then again, Ribovics, who had that, some would say, a classic at the Sphere with Daniel Zellhuber, you got boxed up by Nasrat Haqparast and you lost a split decision. I don't think Brener has the boxing to keep Ribovics away, but he has the dog in him to make this a very interesting fight. So talk to me, brother. How are you seeing this one?
Very much has the dog in him, Derick. What I'm excited for is one thing I like about Elvis Brener. He lures you in and then he counter strikes with power. And then you can really see people when they get hit, they realize like, oh, I'm in a different kind of fight with Brener right here. This is a dog match. He really stays busy at range. He has all the tools. Yeah, I agree with you. He doesn't have the boxing to be able to really outstrike Ribovics, but he has all the other tools to give himself a chance to be able to get on the inside and do the most damage. And that's where he's going to be living, especially with how proficient of a striker that Ribovics is. When he comes in for that boxing, Elvis Brener can find ways to cut angles and then also do some damage on the inside.
I'm big on Brener, bro, and I want to agree with you here. I just think he's the slower fighter in this matchup. I think his head movement is a little unrefined for a matchup of this caliber right here. And I think that he lures you in, but I think he does it with his chin. And that's not a recipe that you want to have here against Ribovics. So here's the thing, man. Grappling, I think, is going to be the path to victory right here for Brener. Like, make it a dogfight, make it ugly, and don't let Ribovics sit there, walk you down, and just trade with you. But I don't really see a path for Brener being on the front foot without boxing of his own. If you saw the fight against Joel Alvarez, it was just a war of attrition type thing. It was only a matter of time. Like, he was getting clipped left and right, but he's giving you that hands down, weird kind of guard. You know what I mean? Nothing's tight. Like, Ribovics is going to come in tight, head moving, try to hit you with that rear hand, hit you with that head kick, that switch kick. And as you could tell, I'm high on Ribovics here, but I think the line indicates it as well. -250 favorite for Ribovics, +210 comeback for Brener, where I will say this. Brener is a guy who can be live, but live as a dog right here. And I think Ribovics has some dog in him too.
If this fight gets extended, Derick, I think we're going to see a lot of blood on the canvas, right? I'm with you. I think Elvis Brener doesn't have the technique to get there going, but he has the pressure and the willingness to keep this fight going. And as solid and as snappy of a boxer that Ribovics is, and a striker all in general, right? Nice kicks as well. But when you're going there, you're hitting people with 5-6 punches, no doing nothing to you. It really does make you wonder if you have enough to put this guy away. And that's where Brener is very, very dangerous. If this one extends, I'm still giving the advantage to Ribovics. I think on paper overall, he has the majority of the advantages. I think his dog's going to be tested in this fight, and that's really what we're going to be seeing.
11 submission victories for Elvis Brener, man. So if he gets hurt, I expect him to force a scramble. And again, Ribovics, look at the takedown defense. 63% is what he's tracking right here. So it's not perfect. He does have the ability to get reversed. I don't expect him coming out shooting, takedowns himself. Like I said, I think he's going to want to try to just walk him down and see what he can do there. But as much as I'm a fan favorite of Brener and the shoot the box camp right here, I just think Ribovics is going to be too much right here. I think, okay, let's get into the weeds right here, though, man. Ribovics wins 2 pass. A lot of people are taking finish. A lot of people are taking knockout right here. But if you look at the totals, 1.5 rounds, -300 for the over, +240 for the under. And AJ, I like the over. I think it's going to be hard to get Brener out of there if Ribovics is the side that's victorious.
I like the over too, Derek. I'm giving a lot to the dog that is Brener right here, and especially with Ribovics, how he fights. He's not throwing power on power every single time. He's piecing you up. He's hitting you a couple different times. And yeah, he can put you to sleep. But I do think I'm giving a lot of credit to how Brener gets it done. And I was looking at the odds, man. It's kind of crazy that that Ribovics by TKO is plus 165. A lot of people are thinking he's going to finish this one.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard, especially. I mean, Ribovics, listen, man, he has a chin of his own. He has great cardio. Brenner's cardio can be a little bit questionable, but again, it's the intangible. It's the thing you can't put down on paper. The dude has heart, and that's what you need in a fight like this. You can't go 3 in a row, bro. You can't go 3 losses in a row right here. That's when some bad things start happening. So, again, the consensus pick on this one is fair. It's going to be Esteban Ribovics, and then again, AJ, is this just a pick right here, or are you taking the bet? Are you taking the money line?
I like the money line, Derek, but this is one of those that I put in a parlay as well if you're not fully confident. But I like Ribovics at 250, and especially if he does this one in style, we're not going to be seeing these kind of numbers again.
And I think if you parlay this correctly with Rebecki, you can get plus money if you parlay Ribovics and Rebecki together. So, all right, that should be a good one. All right, man. We get a prelude to the violence weight clash right here, and you get Karol Rosa versus Nora Cornolle. And AJ, this is a really interesting one because Karol Rosa is that name. She's a name that's been around in the women's bantamweight division. She's someone who, for a split minute, bro, for like a stretch of a couple fights, I was like, oh, she's gonna eventually fight for the title. And then you just kind of lose some of the fights that maybe you shouldn't lose. Cornolle comes in. She's a little bit on the older side, but she's been winning. Even though I think I've gone against her in almost every single one of her UFC fights, except one of them or whatever the case may be. And she just keeps winning. That's the point. Had a hard outing against Jacqueline Cavalcanti, right? But that's a pretty skilled opponent in my opinion. But when you look at Rosa and you look at the losses here. Sarah McMahon, Olympic silver medalist right there, no longer in the UFC. Norma Dumont, who I think is going to be she's fighting a title eliminator against Raquel Pennington coming up soon. So, all right, that aged well. Irene Aldana didn't age the best, but, it was a fun fight. And then Eileen Perez right here. And in that Perez fight, AJ, give me some thoughts on this one, man. I think that it's like she did everything right, except when you got taken down, you just couldn't get up. That's it. Everything else was classic Rosa. You walked her down, beat up the legs. You beat them up in places where maybe the judges don't care as much. Because if you're not hurting your opponent with calf kicks, I feel like it doesn't get graded the same. It doesn't get scored the same as beating them up to the body or bloodying up their face. What do you think?
That's what I was going to say, Derek. You did everything right except show how much damage you actually did in the fight. Because, yeah, you get kicked in the leg, it hurts, but there's a difference between when it turns you and then everybody starts oohing and on. The judges don't really know that it is as impactful as it is until they see actual movement or damage or something like that. So that was one thing, especially because it did with in the Eileen Perez fight, one of the things that not necessarily frustrated me, but would have if this was something that was a little more invested in, like it was my fighter, right? You don't really seem like you're going for the kill, even though you have the opportunity to do that. Kind of just kept the foot or the gas pedal at 50%.
Yeah. So defensively sound, you're not willing to take risks and step on the gas and just see what happens right there. So it was pretty and it was good and it was textbook, but you didn't do enough. So does it matter? Like, not really. You can't walk through the rain and not get wet. Like, that's part of the game, right? So I think she's going to kind of need to do that, especially against a fighter like Cornolle, who is going to she's going to make her impact felt, in my opinion. She's going to go out there, she's going to look for blood. But AJ, this is another one of those ones where when I was looking at this, I was like, man, Cornolle's live, bro. She's live. I don't care what anyone says. Plus 150, she's live. But her path is not going to be the thing that I think everybody is going to anticipate. When you look on paper right here, what is it showing? 2 Muay Thai strikers right here, which is like, all right, that's fine. But I actually think Cornolle's path isn't striking, man. I think grappling is her path. I think that Cornolle, who's coming off of a submission victory against Haley Cohen, which was kind of impressive, right? Because Cohen was the grappler. I think if she takes down Rosa or pins her up against the cage and the clinch and just trips and gets her down, I don't know if Rosa can get up. What do you think?
That's exactly what I was thinking, Derek. The note for Cornolle is expect takedowns and then her to hunt to that finish. That's what I think she's going to be best at in this position. And one thing that's going against Carol Hosa for this is she does have a calm, consistent approach, right? She's solid. She's all Carol Hosa is always doing the same thing. Very cool, very poised in how she goes about it. But when somebody has the energy and the momentum to just push you right past that and not let you get to your game plan, if Cornolle can do that, I see a victory coming for her on that ground game, like you're saying.
Now, here's the tough part. I mean, the number looks kind of crazy. 11% takedown accuracy, for Cornolle. So not great, right? But she's opportunistic. It's off a scramble. It's off of something kind of strange, right? Hosa, not fantastic grappling defense. And I do think she got frozen up a little bit in that Eileen Perez fight because, Perez is good, bro. You can't deny that. Perez is good. She's good at what she does. Her skill set is very specific and is very effective. Now, I think if this is a clean fight, if this is a clean boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai type scrap right here, I think Hosa kind of owns this matchup right here. From what I saw, is Cornolle is more explosive, but she's just a little less technically sound. And what I mean by that is Hosa is just more tight, as we had mentioned. Just more tight, more crisp. Cornolle's willing to kind of put herself out there a little bit more. So I think she needs to force the grappling. I think that's her path, make it ugly in the clinch, and she can be a live dog, and I will be regretting this pick if that's going to be the case. But I think I have to keep it locked in as a pick on Carol Hosa because I don't know if I can do -175 right here. I don't think that I see enough value to actually bet hard-earned dollars on the unpredictable, inconsistent Carol Hosa right here. What do you think?
I can totally see that side of the argument, Derek. In fact, I was there probably 30 minutes before I submitted my picks. I'm rocking with the underdog. I'm taking the live money right here at +150. I'm going Nora Cornolle. Man, money line. I mean, all day. I'm with Derek. I think her path to victory is just push that pressure, keep it going, let Carol Hosa get pushed up against that fence, hunt for a takedown, finish the fight. I mean, hopefully we cash in on an underdog, but I do think this one is a bet because it's very, very close, and I can see this fight unfolding on many, many ways. Excuse me, this fight this is a pick, not a bet, because of all the uncertainty that could go into this fight.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I was originally on Cornolle for this fight, but I had to switch it up. We're not going to give you guys just a clean slate of the same picks on both sides right here. Of course, we're always going to give you the consensus where you see it, but in a fight that can go a couple different ways. I'll rock chalk. AJ's rocking the live. So tail, who you feel accordingly, and may the odds ever be in your favor. All right, man. Let's move on over to the next one. We still got a couple more to go through right here. You got a couple of veterans right here. The Haitian sensation Neil Magny versus Zaleski dos Santos right here. And AJ, Neil Magny, yeah, you're coming off of a couple losses, some brutal losses that showcase your age, showcase maybe the chin is fading a little bit. Michael Morales and Carlos Prates knocked you out. But those are young studs who seem to be at the top of the welterweight division right now. Zaleski dos Santos gets finished by Chidi and Jaquani, who's been very up and down, and he enters as a -200 favorite against a dude who we know is a live money machine, is an underdog machine. I think Neil Magny deserves a little bit of respect right here, and I think he might just earn it. How are you seeing this fight, and why do you think Dos Santos is such a big favorite thus far?
I truly think it has a lot to do with Neil Magny and the way just he is perceived in the world, man. Like, not a lot of people are giving respect to Neil Magny unless you're a hardcore fan and you know this guy can really put some knuckles to work, man. Because Zaleski, I mean, he has the crazy power, right? Power in all his strikes, throws kicks at the range. He's flashy. He can crash in. He can do all the stuff that the crowd really likes to see, and especially because he has almost that reckless abandon as he goes in. But all of those just lead to Neil Magny having a better chance of winning this fight, especially on paper, like 9 times out of 10, whatever you want to call it. I think Neil Magny wins this fight more often than not.
I think Zaleski has to expend his gas tank in the first round to be able to defeat Neil Magny here. You got to beat up the legs. You got to go and shoot that blast double. But that's the thing, Magny, I mean, not fantastic takedown defense. Let me see what the number is right here. Takedown defense is 54% here. Sorry, let me get, there we go.
54.
Yeah, 54% takedown defense right here for Neil Magny, 21% takedown accuracy for Dos Santos. So you're going to have to get it up there. Magny can get back up, prior to contrary belief right here. He can get back to his feet. And I think that we could see something similar to the Mike Malott fight right there, where you get maybe beat up early on, but you just take over the fight late. Because one thing that we know about Dos Santos is the man fades, especially when you're forced backwards for an extended amount of time. And what is the story of Neil Magny, the man who, let me see, I had the note right here for Neil Magny, or maybe I don't have it. This dude's got like a record level of welterweight victories right here, like Hall of Fame level, like the most ever, right? Like this dude he wins and he wins and he wins. And Zaleski needs to be very explosive and very powerful in order to get this win. So I think he is super duper live right here. But let's talk about let's talk about just kind of like how else we can make some money right here. You could take Neil Magny just plus money. I feel confident. Rangy, grind him down, jab and volume style for Neil Magny is going to be the approach right here. But what other ways are you seeing? The total is 2.5. Over is -180. Under is +150. I think some money could be made on these totals.
Yeah, total 2.5. You said the minus was what, Derek?
-180. -180 for the over, +150 for the under.
Yeah, I mean, I like, especially if you're a Neil Magny better, I like the over because I do think he's going to have to endure some damage going in there. But 2.5, I mean, something tells me Neil Magny can finish this fight right around that 2-second round mark. Like if Dos Santos has to dump his gas tank, especially early in the fight, and Neil Magny is able to work that range, really pick him apart. We've seen Neil Magny do some real good work. So I like the over, Derek, but one thing that kind of threw me a little bit, Neil Magny by points +270. So a lot of people are also thinking that if he's going to be winning, the decision's there. But not a lot of people are thinking he's going to be winning the fight by finish. Neil Magny by TKO and by submission +11. Yeah, 1,100, Derek. Well, 1,100. So they're not finishing it. Do you think this finishes at all in sight?
I think the day, and this is going to sound crazy because if you look at the methodologies right here, I mean, you're seeing knockout, you're seeing a submission victory. I think the days of Neil Magny, the Haitian sensation finisher, I think those days might be over, my friend. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I listen. He's not the same guy. He's not the same guy that we've seen. Title window, I think, is out of the picture right here. I think he's a fun fighter, 37 years old, who, when he's fighting adequate fights of fighters his age, I think he can do the classic Neil Magny approach and squeak out that points victory, steal rounds. I think that's what he's best at. So I think that's why this could be lock of the week right here. Or we could look very, very silly if Dos Santos just comes out and starches them. So it's one of those ones, man. It's hard to bet on older dudes in the welterweight division right here. 35 years old plus, not a pretty sight, but I think it is fair to say that the consensus pick is Neil Magny. And if I didn't answer accordingly, I'm actually going to roll with the over -180. I think that's a steal of a number right there. So, act accordingly on that one, folks. All right, man. This is the fight that we've all been waiting for, right? Danny Silva, Kevin Vallejos. The reason that this is going to be so fun, man, is because you have a clash of styles right here. And Danny Silva, the volume puncher, hands down, tall, rangy, switches stances, and wants to be on you, versus a dude who, if you give him room, he's going to beat you up to the body, to the head, everywhere in between. And all it takes is one shot. All it takes is one combination for him to get off. Your hand, that rear cross that comes over the top, or that rear hook that comes over the top, is lightning quick. It looks like Ilia Topuria in my eyes. But Danny Silva can beat up the body too. This is interesting. Did you hear, AJ? I don't know. It's because we record this before the weigh-ins take place, but Vallejos was saying that there was a little controversy. He was hearing rumblings that Danny Silva might not even make weight. That would definitely make this a little more interesting because Vallejos is a little undersized himself for the division. But what do you think?
Yeah, that would make it real interesting, Derek, especially because I do think Vallejos has the speed advantage. And Danny Silva, I mean, he's down to brawl and he is very, very durable. A little extra weight on there might make it more interesting to see how long they can actually really go at it then too. But I mean, this is going to be a very fun and very telling fight for how the division, how the featherweight division has really evolved and who we're going to be seeing as next stars coming up.
I think so too, man. I mean, when you look at Danny Silva, the thing that just makes me wonder in this matchup specifically is, will his style work? He wants to be on the front foot. He wants to walk you down. He wants to give you looks. But this is the reason why, is because I'll notice he's putting punches on you. I mean, look, what's the significant strike? 7.36 per minute. Dog, 60% clip. Like, the dude is putting his hands on people, right? But the problem is I see him enter the pocket and then high guard and just kind of hang out. Enter the pocket and high guard. Why are we entering the pocket if we're not using it? You know what I mean? Let's stay out of range, not get hit. But he's kind of like, give me a couple so then I can return a couple, and we're going to just go back and forth, but I'm going to ultimately win that battle. The way Vallejos fought against another bigger, longer guy in Sting Choi in his last one, man, it's just like, bro, if you enter my vicinity of range, I'm putting that 3-piece on you. I'm not going to beat a dead horse right here, but Topuria he mentioned, what's the one thing that a lot of these fighters do not do inherently in the UFC, but in MMA in general? They don't extend combinations. 1-2, 1-2, maybe 1-2, 3, not 1-2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Like, they're not adding it up. They're not hitting you and then hitting you again with another extended one. So I think Vallejos will close distance. He'll just beat you up to the body, literally do a 2-3 piece just straight to the body, get you thinking about that, switch it up head and body. And if he does that, I don't know if Danny Silva is going to be able to make it through this one. No disrespect.
No, I'm right there with you, Derick. I think the best path to victory for Kevin Vallejos is just putting the hands to work and one thing I like about Danny Silva, to take nothing away from him, he is very, very good at cutting those angles and then getting on the inside. But then I agree with you. The lack of output once we're there is one of the biggest problems, especially with a boxer like Kevin Vallejos. He's going to be putting his hands to work, man. And this is going to be a very, very exciting fight to see how these young guns are really putting in new techniques to get to work.
Yeah. Mid-combination pocket exchanges. That is the note that I put right there. It's the pocket exchanges. That's it, man. Just, you can't do nothing in range. You got to do something. And that's also the problem. You do too much, you're going to leave yourself open right here. So I'm going to take AJ. I'm going to make this one simple. The total is 2.5 rounds, -135 for the over, +105 for the under is what I'm tracking. I'm taking Vallejos. I'm taking the TKO. I'm taking the under right here. I think you bet this one all day. I don't think this is just purely a pick. I think you bet it, but you bet TKO Vallejos or in the distance, whatever they give you. What's the tracking right now?
Kevin Vallejos, TKO +120, folks. I'm right there with Derick. I locked it on my bed sheet when I was thinking about it, man. KO prop all day long. I mean, this is going to be a fun one. We're about to see somebody go to sleep in this fight.
It moves fast too, man. When I was tracking these, I think it was at -120. Oh, no, that's it. Yeah. You said, what was the TKO prop again? Give me it one more time.
TKO prop +120.
+120. Fight doesn't go okay. I think I had a little bit of a different number, but it's quick. It moves quick. That's what I'm saying, folks. Jump on that immediately. That's pretty much the point that I got right there. And then last piece. Do you feel safe? Not the prop, but Vallejos, given that he's a -460 favorite in this one, parlay piece, or do you just stay away from a money line bet whatsoever?
I was actually thinking about putting the two Argentinians together on this, man, making an Argentinian brothers parlay. Yeah. The juice was not there, folks. I think I'm taking Vallejos out of the parlay. I like the other one we were talking about before, but man, it's there's interesting money to be made on Vallejos. I like the prop.
And remember, folks, that one was Ribovics and Rebecki. Parlay that together, and I'm almost positive you're going to get plus money on that one. So, all right, man. With that being said, that was your main card, folks. But as we always mention, the fun does not end there. Now we got to go ahead and give you the locks of the week. These are going to be the best bets. And AJ, let's go ahead and let's just start off with yours, man. You got a fun one right here, man. You got one that we had spoken about very, very earlier in the fight. So to see that you got a best bet on it, I'd love to see it. Talk to the people. What do you got?
Very, very early in the show, folks, we're talking about, you might have caught it. We're going Tresean Gore versus Rodolfo Vieira over 1.5, folks. It's minus money right here. I was really putting the thinking to how this one is going to work. I'm expecting a close up inside the pocket striking with a ton of grappling going into this fight. I mean, we know who Vieira is. He's black belt hunter, right? We know what we're going to get out of him. Tresean Gore is the one who's a little bit more up and down right here. And I think both of the fighters right here, they're going to be looking to test each other, and whoever doesn't, feel the best on the feet, that's who's going to be looking to take the fight to the ground. I'm expecting both fighters to be looking to shoot, man. We're expecting a washing machine fight right here. They're both very strong, and obviously Vallejos has the ground advantage, and arguably Tresean Gore has a striking advantage, but he needs to show us what he's actually out there with, because a lot of these other fights, we're just not getting what we wanted to see out of the Dana White Contender Series. But I do like this one at 1.5. I think the over is going to hit right here, folks. Make sure you watch this one.
All right, that's a fair one, man. I've been a big fan of Tresean Gore since The Ultimate Fighter. Rodolfo Vieira is a very, very tough outing. And if you look at it, man, he got knocked out against Marco Tulio in his last one. That was earlier this year. Before that, strung together a nice little win streak. But listen, in the UFC, we are 2-3. So another loss would not bode well for Tresean Gore. We'll see what happens right there. But again, another one of those fights where both fighters are coming off of a loss. And it's something that you don't want to see. All right, man, I got a fun one for you guys. Let me go ahead and pull up there we go. All right. My best bet on this one, Rafael Estevam versus Felipe Bunhas. I believe I said it right there, but this is Brazilian on Brazilian crime right here, man. Listen, the game plan is going to be pretty simple right here. Over 2.5 rounds at -145. Estevam is a measured 13-0. Yeah, 13-0 right here. 5 straight decision victories as the competition just kind of gets stiffer and stiffer. Bunhas has been finished 3 times in 7 losses, but don't let that fool you right here, because the style of Estevam is an extending style. He extends fights just by the pure control that he puts on people. Think Asu Almabayev, but Brazilian. You know what I mean? Not the Kazakhstanian version right there. His best looks for Bunhas is going to be coming in scramble. So the man knows how to create a scramble. Is opportunistic. You do see 9 submission victories right here, but do you see a loss on Estevam's record? Absolutely not, because he knows how to control the fight. So I think it's safe to extend this one. -145 is a fantastic number in my opinion, and I think that that's a smash spot all day long. So that's the best bet that I got for you. And AJ, one last piece of business that we need to cover right here. But of course, before we do that, folks, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Listen, we got a lot of subscribers here on this channel. We couldn't be more grateful than we currently are right now. But it never hurts to tell a friend to tell a friend. Because don't forget, baby, we're your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. But AJ, we got some news. I don't got a news bell that I'm going to be hitting on you right here, but I'm curious, man. This is the curious case of the UFC's heavyweight division. It's been in shambles. We talked about the heavyweight division actually last week. So if you're a little surprised to be like, hey, why are you bringing this up again? It's actually for good reason. You're probably going to be surprised that I'm going to be bringing this individual up, but let's go ahead and let's jump into it, man. All right. Remember this guy, Martin Buday? Remember the what was the pick last week that got spoiled? Buchecha's debut got spoiled. You remember that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the guy who did it. 7-1 in the UFC, 6 decisions in the heavyweight division. Nobody wants to see that right there. And this is your testament. First off, yeah, 6-1, as you can see. Your sole loss was to Shamil Gaziev, which is actually pretty impressive, man. You know, to lose against that guy and to beat everybody else. Not the biggest names over there, but you got some good wins right here in the heavyweight division. We'll just say that. You have guys like Tatsuro Taira. No disrespect to Bam Bam right here, but the man has lost 4 fights in a row, but he stays relevant. I don't know if you've seen a picture of Tatsuro Taira recently. I'm not even going to share one right now. Go Google one yourself, folks. But the man does not look like a ranked heavyweight fighter right now. I'll just say that. The point that I'm making here, AJ, is this man Buday just got cut. He didn't get cut. He fought out his contract, and the UFC decided that they won't renew his contract. And my question to you is, what exactly is the direction of the UFC's heavyweight division? Tom Aspinall is fighting Cyril Gane, as we mentioned last week. After this fight, what is your crop of fighters? Who are you going to be extending? Taliesin Teixeira, for an example, was a ranked fighter who's just coming off of a loss, but you just cut the 7-1 Martin Buday, who's on an X amount of fight winning streak or whatever the case may be. What are we doing here? This is bigger news than maybe some appear to be. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Derek. And I think what the UFC is trying to do is reinstill the fear that the heavyweight division once held, right?
Yeah.
5 decision fights in the UFC, whatever it is, Boudet is. Don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter, but I agree. A lot of people see that, and nobody really wants to sit and watch a 15-minute slugfest with heavyweights. If it was just an absolute all-out brawl for 15 minutes, yeah, everybody's gonna be out of their seat. But a lot of the time, that's not how those fights go. So I really think, and it sucks that Boudet's getting cut because I don't think he needs to be cut or he need to be cut. He could have had a little bit more well put together opposition, and then that's how those fights actually get finished. But I really think the UFC is trying to instill that the heavyweight division is full of monsters again, and we need to see finishes, and that's probably one of the reasons why he got cut.
And I'm glad that you hit all of the main points, because that's exactly why. It's not a meritocracy here. You know what I mean? This is, and it's not just because they partnered up with the WWE, TKO Holdings, or whatever the case may be. You have to be entertaining. That's the entire point. The entire business model is put butts in seats. You could win every single fight, but if nobody cares about watching your fight, it does not matter, especially if you weigh 265 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be, we can't just be huffing and puffing after the first 3 minutes of the fight. So it does suck. I'm just curious, like, all right, well, show me the exciting heavyweight that you're bringing in to replace this dude. Show me a rankings full of dudes who are sluggers. You let Francis Ngannou walk. You know what I mean? You have stagnancy in the division. John Jones held up the division. Your champion, Tom Aspinall, all the buzz that he had, unfortunately, is kind of gone, man. Like, you know, AJ, you know, I got the notch in my belt was that I was saying Tom Aspinall will be the champ from the jump, from the very get-go, right? This was back in the, is it Aspinall or Chris Dawkins? Who's going to be the champ, right? Those were back in those days. You remember that? Aged poorly for you, my friend, but it's all good. But who cares anymore? Who cares? Let's keep it a buck, man. Who is a fan today who's like, that Tom Aspinall guy, man, bro, dangerous dude. Yeah, he's the champ or whatever the case may be, but I feel like people need to be consistently reminded, and he's been put on the shelf. And I feel like nobody cares about the heavyweight division right now.
1,000,000%, Derek. I mean, Tom is the champ and deservedly the champ now. The John Jones is out, but still, like you said, who cares? Really, the limelight was one of the quickest week turnovers that we've seen, man. Normally you get a little bit of length in your press cycle. Anytime it seems to be Tom Aspinall, it's literally gone the next day. They're on to a new topic. It's interesting to see, and that's why I really think the UFC is taking these big leaps to improve the heavyweight division. But to answer your question earlier, Derek, there is not one absolutely killer out there that we're seeing going to be put up. And it's going to be interesting to see how the UFC attacks that exact problem.
Yeah, that's it, man. All right. Well, with that being said, folks, I think that that's your story of the week. Let's not forget, we're going back to Vegas next week. Roman Dolidze versus Fluffy Hernandez. That's going to be a fun one. But that was your breakdown for UFC Vegas 108. Tell a friend to tell a friend. That's all that we got for you folks this week. Until next time. Peace.